Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we start with our new unit, Unit 3, which is titled If It Hadn't Happened. Our lesson today is the Listen and Discuss lesson with the peer work in your books, page 34 and 35. All you need for the lesson today is your books, page 34 and 35, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to talk about discoveries and inventions. Also, you will be able to talk about missed opportunities and regrets. You will be able to answer specific questions through listening to an audio. So we're going to speak about topics and you will answer some questions. Let's get started with this. Let's think about things that you can't live without. Things that you are taking for granted and you will say, my day will be ruined without these things. Something that you can't continue your day without. Maybe some of you will say, it is TV. I can't complete my day without watching TV. It's an important invention in my day. Maybe you can speak about the internet. The internet is very important for all of us. It makes me connected with the world. Also, you can tell about electricity, lights around us. Even the internet will work on, and the TV as well works on electricity. And also you can speak, I can't live without my cell phone. So different people will depend on different things. This thing is very important and I can't live without it. For this unit, the thing that we're doing, how would life be without? We will go to the past and we will cancel one thing. Then we will come back to the present time and we will imagine how would our life look like if we haven't invented that thing or discovered that thing. So, how about our lives will look like without the wheel? Let's go back in time and we'll cancel the wheel. How do you think our lives will look like? Today, our lives will look totally different. How about our lives? Let's go to the past and cancel oil. No one had discovered oil. Is our life today going to be the same, just like today? Because we had discovered oil? No, it will be totally different. Things will look different. How about computers? Computers were invented in the past. That's why our lives look like the way we live today. If we hadn't invented computers in the past, our lives will look different today. Can you describe it? How about airplanes? Do you think our lives today will look the same if we don't have airplanes? I think they will be totally different than today. And electricity, one of the most important things that we live on today. Do you think our lives will be the same? They will look different. So, you will go back in time and cancel something from the past, then how our lives will look like today. Okay, before we get into this, we will differentiate between the idea of what is a discovery and what is an invention. A discovery, they are all human achievements. However, for the discovery, we haven't made them ourselves. We have found them somewhere. Let's speak about here, we're having Australia. It is actually a discovery. It was there, however, people made effort to find it. Not to make it, to find it. However, for the invention, it wasn't there, however, we made effort to make it. So to find a discovery, and the other one, which is to make something. So Australia was a discovery. How about the car? Was it found or made? It was actually made, so it is an invention. How about the DNA? It is actually in our bodies. Then scientists found it. So it was a discovery. TV, what do you think about it? Was it there then we found it? No. Many people worked hard to invent it. So it is an invention. Airplane is an invention. Electricity It is actually a discovery. It was there, no one known about it until we have scientists worked hard to find out about it. How about gravity? We're having gravity to the ground. We haven't made it. We found it or discovered it. Cell phone, it was an invention. Computers are invention. How about the penicillin? It is actually a discovery. Oil, a discovery, and the wheel was an invention. Anything that you can find, it was there, created by Almighty, you will find it. So we will call it a discovery. We haven't done anything towards it. We just found it. We have made it from scratch, so this is an invention. Okay, speaking about these inventions, let's imagine our lives without these inventions. We're having actually 6 inventions and discoveries. We will go back in time and we will cancel them. Then we will come back to the present time and we will imagine we will cancel all types of this invention. Things that depend on this invention will be cancelled as well. Is our life going to be different or the same? It will be totally different. Let's speak about the wheel, which is one of the oldest inventions. What do you think about the wheel if we don't have the wheel? For me, I think that we will not have most or maybe all the means of transportation. Neither the bike, the car, maybe we will only have the ship, because the wheel is the basic invention. Let's listen to her. She might tell us a thing more.
The Sumerians couldn't have moved heavy loads.
So depending on history, the Sumerians who started the invention of the wheel, they wouldn't be able to move heavy loads. The loads which are heavy, maybe the rocks, they wouldn't be able to move it from one place to the other. Our lives will look different. We will have totally different ways of transportation. Do you think our lives would be better or worse? I think that our lives with the wheel is much more better. How about oil? Oil actually is discovery. It was there underneath the ground. Then we dig into there, we have drilled, and we found out the oil. Let's cancel oil from our present. How do you think our lives will look like? I think that we will still be dependent on animals for transporting or moving from one place to the other. We wouldn't be able to use cars or any gas-moved vehicles. She will tell us her opinion and we will listen.
Cars that run on gasoline wouldn't have become so common.
So we wouldn't have cars. They wouldn't be that common. It's because we're having the fuel that will make them work is not available. So anything that depends on oil will be cancelled. Maybe we will be still using bicycles. We got the wheel and we can use the bicycle. They are powered not on oil. Do you think our lives will be better or worse? I think our lives would look worse than today. How about electricity? Let's cancel electricity from our lives. Our lives will look totally different than the life that we live today. How is it going to look like? Maybe we will depend on candles and maybe other things like
people would probably still be using candles or gas lights.
We won't have light bulbs. Maybe we will depend on candles and gas lights. Do you think our daily routine will be the same? I don't think so. Maybe we will have different daily routine. We will sleep earlier and wake earlier. Because we don't have electricity, we depend on sunlight. I think our lives will be totally different. How about, let's imagine our lives with no airplanes. Are they going to look just like the way we only have bicycles, cars, ships, and these things? We can't fly. How do you think our lives will look like? They will look totally different. Maybe we wouldn't be able to explore and visit other people in other continents. Or she can tell us
There wouldn't be as much contact among people on different continents.
So we wouldn't be able to communicate with people from different continents in Australia or in America or in Europe. Otherwise, other than going by car or the ship, we can't go anywhere in there. Maybe there are certain places that we wouldn't be able to discover so far. So our lives will look totally different. How about our lives with no computers? Are they going to look the same? No. They will look totally different. Without computers, maybe she will tell us,
a lot of work would still be done with paper and pencil.
So we will be still dependent on the pencil, on handwriting. Maybe we won't be able to communicate with people who are far away. We wouldn't be able even to think about online learning. So our lives will be much more different than today. How about life without penicillin? What is it? It's a drug or it was discovered, and it is a drug that was discovered by Fleming. It is a protective from, let's say, from infections. What if we didn't have the penicillin? It is a chemical. So how would our life look like? She will tell us that
millions of people would have died from infections.
An infection is not a dangerous disease, however, people would have died. And I believe that the lifespan will be shorter. Many people would die at earlier ages. So our lives will look totally different than our lives today. So different lifestyle we're going to have. Now you are about to look back. You will listen to the texts that are in your books, page 34, and you will try to match the name of the invention or the discovery with the piece of information. We've got here the Sumerians. Which one is related to the Sumerians? North America, Ontario, Canada, IBM, Wright Brothers, 1904, Dr. Alexander Fleming, 1928, and Thomas Edison, 1879. Listen and write the name of the invention or the discovery next to each information. Let's listen.
The wheel. If the Sumerians hadn't invented the wheel in 5000 BCE, they couldn't have moved heavy loads. 6,000 years later, the Mayans and Incans in the Americas used the round shape in their architecture, but they had no wheels. Oil. If people hadn't discovered a lot of sources of oil, cars that run on gasoline wouldn't have become so common. The first commercial oil well drilled in North America was in Oil Springs, Ontario, Canada in 1858. Electricity. If electricity hadn't been discovered, people would probably still be using candles or gaslights. Thomas Edison developed the first incandescent electric light bulb in 1879.
Airplanes. If the Wright brothers hadn't invented the first successful airplane, people might still be traveling long distances on ships, and there wouldn't be as much contact among people on different continents. The Wright brothers first flew in an engine-propelled plane in 1903.
Computers. If we didn't have computers, a lot of work would still be done with paper and pencil, and people in their homes wouldn't be able to be in contact with the entire world. The first PC was introduced by IBM in 1981.
Penicillin. If Dr. Alexander Fleming hadn't discovered penicillin in 1928, millions of people would have died from infections. However, the widespread use of penicillin as an antibiotic did not begin until the 1940s, during World War II.
Okay, so you have listened to the information. Now it is the time to match the information with the invention or the discovery. How about the Sumerians? We can relate the Sumerians with the invention, which is the wheel. They invented the wheel. How about North America, Ontario, Canada, 1858, we can relate it to oil, the first oil well. IBM, 1981, we can relate it to which invention? To the computer. Wright brothers, 1906, and here the airplane. Then Dr. Alexander Fleming, 1928, he actually discovered the penicillin. And Thomas Edison, 1879, we can relate him to with electricity. So each invention or discovery will be matched with the information, the date, or the inventor. Okay. How about these words? We're having, you can match these parts of the word together. We're having oil, heavy, hair, electric, and security. You can match them with guard, style, load, bulb, and well. It's a well with E. So we can say it's an oil well, and finding or digging an oil well. Heavy, which of these can be heavy? A heavy load. How about hair? I can say that it's a hair style. Electric, electric bulb, and security guard. You can match each one, the two parts of the word together to come up with a meaningful word. Let's try to use these words. We can use oil well, hairstyle, and discovered. Dr. Alexander Fleming did what to the penicillin? Did he oil well, hairstyle, or discovered? He actually discovered, found the penicillin. The first commercial was drilled in South America. It was drilled, which is the oil well. How about Jane had a beautiful for the party? It is hairstyle. Hairstyle, which is how you will style your hair. Okay, so these they are. I wanted to notice some of the sentences that we've spoken about discoveries and inventions. We have said that if the Sumerians hadn't invented the wheel in 5000 BCE, they couldn't have moved heavy loads. This one is actually an F clause. It is an imaginary one, but we're imagining something in the past, and how would it affect them in the past or would affect us in the present. And you can notice in here that we have used in the F clause had, the past perfect, and invented. And the result clause will be, we will use the auxiliary could plus have moved. The second one in here, we will say, if the Wright brothers hadn't invented the first successful airplane, people might still be traveling long distances on ships. So we're imagining, so we have used the past perfect tense. The following, if Dr. Alexander Fleming hadn't discovered penicillin in 1928, millions of people would have died from infections. So what have we used in the F clause? Because we're imagining past perfect tense. So for imagination, always things that are not real, we will use the past. However, they are in the past, so we will use the past perfect tense. So, just like in here, if electricity hadn't been discovered, people would still be using candles. We start with an F, the F clause or the condition. So, it is in the past perfect, had, past perfect tense. Then the other one will be the result. It will be an auxiliary verb. Well will be would. We can use might and we can use could. Okay, this is for the conditions. Let's look at this man. What do you think? Let's try to describe the picture at the beginning. He looks like, is he happy? I don't think so. Look at his face and you will tell that he's not happy at all. What is he doing? He is carrying heavy load, 3 heavy boxes. Let's check what he's saying. He would say, I wish I had been a better student. I should have listened to my mother and gone to college. I could have had an office job. Is he happy about what he had done in the past? Not really. His feeling is regret. When you feel regret, you feel sorry for something that you had already done in the past, and you're not happy about what you have done. We're going to listen to a text which is about life regrets. Many people regret certain things that they had done in the past. Which one of these do they apply to you? Let's listen to the introduction part in here.
Life's regrets. At one time or another, we all look back and wish we had done things differently in our lives. The following are some typical situations. Mark the ones you've said or done. Discuss with a partner.
So, it is very common for people to regret things, to feel sorry. You have done or you haven't done something in the past, and now you feel sorry for doing or for not doing that thing. Feeling sorry for doing or not doing things. And there are some common regrets people usually have them. Which one apply to you? Let's go ahead, and these they are. Listen and mark the ones that applies to you. Let's listen.
1. If I'd studied harder, I would have passed that test. 2. I should have said what I thought about her hairstyle, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings. 3. I should have bought that thing last year, now prices have gone up. 4. If I had been more careful, I would have avoided the accident. 5. I should have told the security guard that I saw someone breaking the lock. 6. If I'd known the trip was going to take so long, I would have taken another route.
Okay, so these are some common regrets people feel sorry for doing or not doing them, and these they are. Read and mark the ones that you feel that applies to you. I should have bought the house earlier, or we will have the other one. Maybe if I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. Each one of us, one of these is going to apply for them. Okay, whether it is about the test or telling the security guard about certain thing or another. How about you? If you could go back in time and do things over, you will change things in the past. What mistakes would you try to avoid? Maybe we'll speak about if I can go back in time, I would study harder. I wish I can go back in time and study harder. Or I wouldn't have shouted at a friend. I would prefer to be much more polite to a friend or to my mother. Okay. Now in your books, page 34, the comprehension, you will answer with true or false, based on the inventions as well as the regrets. The Sumerians couldn't have carried heavy loads without the wheel. Do you agree? I guess yes. Without the wheel, they wouldn't be able to carry heavy loads. If it weren't for Fleming, many people would have died from infections because he discovered the penicillin. Do you agree? I guess yes. Because he discovered the penicillin, many people had lived longer. If it hadn't been for candles, there wouldn't be any electricity. Does it go this way? I guess no, because if it hadn't for electricity, people would have been using candles till today. People would still be traveling on ships if it weren't for airplanes. No airplanes, today we will be traveling on ships. Yes. How about the man who is unloading, the same page 34, unloading the truck, should have studied harder? I guess yes. He feels regret for not studying harder. And if he had studied harder in the past, today he would have an office work or an easier work. Let's go to the peer work in here. Let's look at him. And we will say, what is your biggest regret? Something that you feel sorry for doing or not doing. Maybe you can speak, I should have been a more serious student. a better student, or I should have listened to my parents' advice and attend college. How about the wheel? What would have happened if the Sumerians hadn't invented the wheel? Let's cancel the wheel. So we will say they wouldn't have been able to move heavy loads. For us, we wouldn't have been able to use the means of transportation we're using today. How about this thief? What would you have done if you had seen the thief? I hadn't seen him, but what would you have done? I will say I would have called the police immediately. Okay, for your homework, think about if you could go back and do things over, what mistakes would you try to avoid? Think about things that you wanted to go back in time and change them, so you will change your present. Mistakes that you want to avoid, you hadn't done them, or you would love that you had done it in the past. Okay, guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.